Shuangwen+Sweet Pet+Confucianism and Taoism+Revenge+Many children, many blessings, non-traditional many children, many blessings, emotional lines gradually progressive, those who mind, be cautious when entering. Lu Sanyang traveled through a different world where Confucianism, Taoism, Buddhism, and martial arts coexisted. In order to help his beloved empress secure her throne, he launched a northern expedition against the divine kingdom and a southern expedition against the southern barbarians, becoming a divine king. The empress, however, violated her promise and conspired with the female officials and ministers to force her to drink poisonous wine, abolish her cultivation, and demote her to the desolate and desolate desert state as the Prince of Light Staff, with the intention of causing her to die with regret. Empress Ai abandoned her and her subordinates left. Surprisingly, her former female disciple was also a traveler. Lu Sanyang originally intended to kill the fish and break the net, but activated the multi-child and multi-blessing system, which rewards those who marry and have children. On the first day he entered Mozhou, he met the nine-tailed heavenly fox who came to repay his kindness. "Prince, we demon girls can give birth to at least 9 at a time. Years later, the desert of Mozhou will become an oasis, with Lu Sanyang's 100 sons and thousands of grandsons, each with divine courage, and millions of Mozhou lions." In the capital, the empress trembled and wept uncontrollably. "Quickly, don't let him marry a female demon again. I know I was wrong." Chapter 1. My promise is invalid and I will give you poisoned wine. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The god king of Zhenbei, Lu Sanyang, formed a clique for personal gain, took bribes and violated the law, colluded with demon clans, and was notorious for his numerous crimes. He deserves to die 1,000 times. In the spring of the 10th year of Yongning in the Great Zhou dynasty, at the Fengtian temple, a clear and majestic voice sounded. Empress Feng, dressed in a dragon robe, sat on a pure gold dragon chair, holding a memorial in her hand, staring fixedly at the Zhenbei god king Lu Sanyang standing below the stage. The officials next to them all took 3 steps back when they saw the situation, and many of them had a smile in their eyes as if they had fallen into a well. Several narrow-minded female officials were so excited that their lips trembled slightly, and their anger and hatred were already raging in their hearts. The majestic Zhenbei divine king resisted the demon kingdom to the north and the southern barbarians to the south. In the battle of Yanmen Pass, he killed 500,000 bald donkeys from the Buddhist kingdom in the western regions and made great contributions. He should be known as the immortal king for eternity. This man who once didn't even want to take a second look at them. Today finally, it's about to collapse. Celebrate the world together. Everyone is happy. Your Majesty, the Prince of Zhenbei, Lu Sanyang, formed a clique for personal gain and replaced all the guards of Xianmen Pass, Beishan Pass, and Nanbeihu Pass with his men. The evidence of the crime is conclusive. Please execute him, Your Majesty. Your Majesty, during the northern expedition by Prince Lu Sanyang of Zhenbei, he forcibly handed over money and food from various local gentry, embezzled money and violated the law, with a total amount of billions of silver taels. His crimes are countless and difficult to record. This thief did not die, and the people's anger is difficult to calm. Your Majesty. The Prince of Zhenbei only drove 100,000 demon clans back to the mountains, rather than completely killing them. He must have had an affair with the demon princess and intended to rebel. Please execute his 9 clans, Your Majesty. Please, Your Majesty, execute his 9 clans. Several female officials bowed one after another, their voices clear and pleasant, speaking confidently and confidently. Other officials couldn't help feeling relieved upon seeing this. The god king of Zhenbei, Lu Sanyang, is finally about to collapse. The Empress Phoenix's gaze was cold, and there was no expression on her beautiful face. Looking towards Lu Sanyang, who was shocked, disbelieved, confused, and puzzled. Memories surged into her heart, and her eyes flashed with peace of mind, satisfaction, unwillingness, and greed. People only know that Lu Sanyang is the strongest king in the hands of her Emperor Feng, but they don't know that he is still the king she once had a crush on. But he is so excellent that even as an empress, she cannot completely control him. Since he became the most dazzling man in Dezhou, she has been worrying about one thing at all times. The great achievements surpassed the masters. She also thought about governing the world together with him, as she had promised him. Born into an imperial family, I have seen too many power struggles and deceit, and have also tasted the beauty of supreme power. Today, I share with the beauty of Zhongshan. One day, you will ride on me, with 3,000 in the harem. She cannot accept such a possibility, even if it is 1 in 10,000. She is also unwilling to share supreme rights with others. Even this man, she once loved him. So using it first and then kicking it away becomes the best choice. Lu Sanyang, what else do you have to say? Lu Sanyang, now the king of Zhenbei. When Empress Feng ascended to the throne at the age of 15, she had been following her and was promoted by a small guard, relying on her achievements and rising steadily. In just 10 years, he trained the imperial guard, held the imperial academy, and was in charge of the Ministry of War. He launched a northern expedition to the west, built high platforms in the south, and built naval divisions in the east. Glorious achievements, shining through the ages. There are 3 heavenly merits. Firstly, the skill of protecting the dragon. 10 years ago, the Empress ascended to the throne as a 15-year-old girl. Her officials were unable to resist, and her courtiers rebelled. Emperor Yao, the northern prince of Tianjin, even sent people to assassinate the Empress. At that time, Lu Sanyang was still a guard and stepped forward to block the fatal sword for the Empress, successfully killing the assassin. Secondly, the merit of dividing Confucianism. Back then, the Confucian tycoon, the White Deer Academy, relied on a 1,000-year-old foundation and had many important officials in the court, forcing the Empress to make an oath not to appoint a female official. Otherwise, we will no longer allow our disciples to enter the court as officials, cut off the path of the 1,000-year Confucian rule of the Great Zhou dynasty, and allow millions of strong Confucian and Taoist scholars to establish their own doors and compete with the court for public support and talent. Lu Sanyang reopened the Guozijian with a difficult journey that shocked the talented spirits of heaven and earth, attracted saints to appear, bestowed orders of talent and energy, and erected a monument of merit and virtue. The rising star of the Guozijian, with a brave and martial demeanor, won the top 3 in 3 years and won 2 championships in 5 years, which made the old man from Bailu Academy lose all his hair overnight. Thirdly, the achievement of opening up new territories. The Empress ascended the throne, facing internal and external troubles. 500,000 monks and soldiers were sent by the western region's Buddhist kingdom, under the pretext of promoting Buddhism, to directly attack the gate of Yanmen Pass, kill the people, offer sacrifices to livestock, invite the Buddha, and destroy the Tao and Dharma. The Gu ethnic group in southern Xinjiang took advantage of this opportunity to cause chaos, using Gu insects to invade the people of the Zhou state, burning, killing, plundering, refining living people, sacrificing dead bodies, and committing all kinds of evil deeds, causing harm to all living beings. Upon seeing this, the northern demon clan, in line with the idea of everyone fighting me as well, disrupted the northern territory, plundered countless livestock and brought back 100,000 mountains to strengthen their own forces. Lu Sanyang first gathered 300,000 soldiers at Yanmen Pass, discussing Buddhism, Mahayana, and the chaos of demon monks. He defeated many with less, and was awarded the title of Fighting Holy Buddha by the bald donkeys. Later, he led his troops to launch a strong attack on Baihu Pass, killing tens of thousands of Gu followers and using their human body to counter their methods. He produced tens of thousands of super corpse soldiers, which frightened the 100,000 Gu troops to submit a peace request. The demon tribe moved upon hearing the wind, retreating back to the 100,000 mountains and exiting the Shanhaiguan, allowing demons and ghosts to become chaotic and become a dream scene for the human race in the northern region. Nowadays, the great Zhou dynasty has been under the rule of Yongning, with a peaceful country and people, a peaceful world, a peaceful home for the people, and a happy career for all officials. But high achievements can easily surpass the master, and there is no fault for non-saints. Since the Buddha kingdom honored him as the holy Buddha of fighting, the envoys of the northern demon kingdom followed suit and called him the holy heavenly god king, and suggested that the empress change her name from Zhenbei king to Zhenbei god king. The southern Gu tribe refers to it as the reincarnation of Gu god, the 9th generation spiritual Gu, who should enjoy a 1,000-year reputation and be the king of all ages. Within Dezhou, he is even referred to as 9,000 years old. The greatest achievement is to be rewarded without any reward or title. But what people don't know is that Lu Sanyang did so much not for the sake of fame, but because of a few words from his lover. General Lu, I know you are interested in me, and I am interested in you as well. But I am a gentleman and you are a minister, and I don't want others to think that you have risen to power through this relationship. General Lu, I intend to reveal our relationship, but the western region's demonic monks have caused chaos, and the southern region's Gu tribe has taken the opportunity to invade. I have been repeatedly questioned by ministers, and I dare not bring up our affairs again. As long as the demonic monks are pacified and the southern regions are secure, I will govern the world together with you. Prince Zhenbei, such a demon monk has retreated, the southern chaos has calmed down, but the northern demon kingdom has come to an end. The word Zhenbei is my wedding gift to you. Unfortunately, I am currently breaking through the 5th grade and cannot cultivate happiness with you. Therefore, I am giving you a cousin who is extremely similar to me to marry you on my behalf. When the northern border is pacified and I break through the 5th rank, I will rule the world with you and share the name of Holy Emperor and Empress. Now that the northern border has been leveled, not to mention Jizhou, even the further north of Mozhou has become the land of the great Zhou dynasty. But today, what Lu Sanyang waited for was that the empress listen to the advice of the female scholar Rong Qingfei, the cabinet chief Zhang Jiulu, and the female official Wen Qingqing. Taking advantage of his return to court today to fulfill his promise, he used the 3 major crimes of forming factions for personal gain, corruption, and colluding with demons and barbarians, as well as dozens of minor crimes, to destroy his divine power and reputation. The cunning rabbit dies, the running dog cooks. Go ashore and slay your crush first. Since ancient times, women have always been like this. Although Lu Sanyang's silver armor has been removed and his sword hidden, his jade face faces the wind and he looks handsome. A pair of handsome eyes like autumn waves, with a slight movement, looked towards the long-secluded Duke Haiqing and the even more sophisticated Wen Qingqing. It turns out that both of them have entered the 3rd grade, and combining these 6 4th grades is enough to take my life. He quickly figured everything out. What awaits him today is not the fulfillment of his lover's promise to govern the world with him and become an enviable immortal couple, but a dead end with nowhere to escape. And the sweet words and solemn promises of the past were just a planned deception and exploitation. Your Majesty, I will not deceive heaven and earth from above, nor deceive the people from below. I will stand firm against the will of the emperor, kneel down and never forget the emperor's kindness. Today, I have nothing to say. I only hope that your Majesty will remember the reason why I blocked that sword for your Majesty in the past, and allow me to return home from old age. When Emperor Feng saw the landing of the 3 sons, there was no fear at all, only disappointment, and a flash of fear and guilt flashed in his heart. But soon, both the fear and guilt disappeared. Prince Lu Sanyang of Zhenbei, if you have committed such a heinous crime, wouldn't the 4 words returning home from old age be enough to pacify it? But I am the eternal benevolent ruler, always reflecting and correcting myself with the 4 words benevolence, filial piety, propriety, and brotherhood. Today, I will give you a glass of poisonous wine. If you don't die, I, the royal family of the Zhou dynasty, will bless you. I will still make you your king of the north, guarding the north and fighting against demons and barbarians. But if you die, then you deserve it. God and man are angry together, and death is not worth it. Chapter 2. You are already a waste, not worthy of my concubine. You are listening at novel full. Audio. Even if it's poisonous wine, how can one survive? Even if it's a desire to kill, how can one be called benevolent? Lu Sanyang stood still for a moment, burst into laughter, his eyes shining with a clear light, and looked at the Emperor Phoenix as he walked towards the holy platform. Emperor Feng's neck shrank in fear, and the nearby guards were immediately on alert. Lu Sanyang, are you going to kill the king? Don't forget, your wife and children are all guests in my palace now. A hint of sarcasm flashed in Lu Sanyang's eyes, never realizing that he had worked hard to support the Empress for 10 years and loved his lover for 10 years. Surprisingly, she is such a vulgar, despicable, timid, and cowardly woman who is proud and arrogant. He did not answer immediately, but snatched the poisoned wine that had already been prepared in the hands of the standing female official. Thank you, Your Majesty, for giving me wine. If I receive the protection of the former emperor today, heaven and earth will love and pity me, and I will forever remember Your Majesty's kindness today. Drink it all in one gulp and drop the cup to the ground. Severe pain quickly spreads, like a knife twisting, like a snake biting, like ants devouring. But compared to the pain in my heart, it's not even 1 in 10,000. Your Majesty, I am feeling unwell. Please leave first. Watching the lonely figure of Lu Sanyang leave, there was no mercy or regret in everyone's eyes. In their eyes, there was only the pleasure of getting rid of the mountain above their heads, and only the eagerness of the northern prince of the food distribution town. The female scholar Rong Qingfei had a beautiful face and a gentle demeanor. She bowed and said, Your Majesty, although this medicine is a unique tribute from the southern Gu tribe, it can make people's spiritual roots disappear and their cultivation be completely lost. But Lu Sanyang is a rare genius in the world, so if he were to return to the fiefdom, it might not be until a few years later that another bloody storm would erupt. Since Lu Sanyang has already left, there is no need to act anymore. No one among the courtiers present would argue against a deposed king who was jointly angered by a single deity. Emperor Feng then spoke up. Zhang Shoufu had already thought of this. The Jizhou he was guarding had already been divided among his 4 great divine generals, and no one would follow him as the king of the north. Your Majesty, but his fiefdom is still in Jizhou. The people of Jizhou are fierce, and he is skilled in management, deceiving people, and not lacking good generals and elite soldiers. The Empress pondered for a moment and said, But I have just promised him to continue to be his prince of the north. Zhang Julu approached and said, Your Majesty. Since Lu Sanyang recaptured Shanhaiguan 3 years ago, the northernmost part of our great Zhou is no longer Jizhou, but Mozhou. This place is adjacent to the Buddhist kingdom of the western regions, mostly deserts and wastelands, with very few residents. Often, it is only a village within 10 miles, and it is poor and backward. Why don't Your Majesty change its fiefdom to Mozhou? Firstly, it cannot damage Your Majesty's reputation for benevolence and righteousness, and secondly, it can also restrain the Prince of Zhenbei. Rong Qingfei remained uneasy and said, Zhang Shoufu, what if he still manages to succeed? Zhang Julu laughed and said, You can rest assured, Grand Master Rong. The population of the entire Mozhou is currently less than 500,000, and this is one of them. Secondly, Mozhou is located near Tsangshan Mountain, frozen for years, and can only work from 3 to 10 months, making it impossible for soldiers and civilians to accumulate food. There is no one and no food here. How can he cause trouble? Even if 1 in 10,000 gets up, Your Majesty can let him go north and west to expand our territory in the Great Zhou. In that way, within my Great Zhou Pass, only the southern Gu clan can succeed, but it's not enough to be afraid. And there is a mountain and sea pass blocking the north. Even if the Prince of Zhenbei rebelled, he could not pose any threat to me, Zhou. Both advance and retreat are possible. After listening, the Empress nodded slightly. Good. Great good. The female official Wen Qingqing said, Your Majesty, In addition, I believe that the general of Jianwei, Brunei, should be dispatched to lead 15,000 troops to Mozhou immediately to prevent any rebellion. Accurate, Your Majesty, it is holy and wise. Long live the Empress. Long live. Lu Sanyang left the Fengtian palace all the way and was about to go to the harem to pick up his wife and children, but he saw a luxurious carriage parked there. Although my heart hurts, my wife and children are still safe. His final patience and persistence were also worth it. Ifei. Lu Sanyang covered his stomach, wiped the blood from the corners of his mouth, and strode over, barely revealing a gentle smile. But what awaits him is a cold and heartless face, although beautiful and unparalleled. Ai Fei, I have come to pick you and Wang Er up. The imperial princess hugged the young son on her lap and hid his head in a wide and deep embrace. Lu Sanyang, there's no need. What? Lu Sanyang only felt a buzzing sensation in his mind, his ears ringing loudly, and all his thoughts were instantly cleared. He looked at his cold and frosty concubine, thinking about the sweet past and the sentence. Prince, I will accompany you for a lifetime. Emperor Yuer, what are you saying? Emperor Yuer's face was indifferent. I said there's no need. Why? Why is this? Emperor Yuer looked up and down at Lu Sanyang, and her gaze finally stopped on his hand holding his stomach. Once upon a time, you were a genius in heaven, honored as a prince, while I was the daughter of a prince and a princess. A perfect match between two families, a perfect match made in heaven, is like glue and 100 times more affectionate. But now that your cultivation has been abolished by the Empress, and you have no connection with martial arts in this life, you can only be a deposed prince without real power forever. This princess is the daughter of a prince and also a member of the royal family's bloodline. How could she remarry with such useless waste as you? Isn't she laughed at by people all over the world? Lu Sanyang only felt a sudden twitch in his heart, a painful spasm that twisted his face and uncontrollably bled blood flowing from the corners of his mouth. You go. You go. But Wang Er is mine, you give him back to me. Lu Sanyang said he was about to go and hug his son, but the little prince burst into tears with a loud cry. Mother, the child doesn't want the father king. The father king is so scary. The child doesn't want it. Emperor Yuer hugged Wang Er tightly and exclaimed in a coquettish voice, Lu Sanyang, who do you love in your heart? Don't think that my consort doesn't know. My concubine came to see you just to show you Wang Er for the last time. If you are not witty, then no wonder Empress Dowager did not repay the kindness of husband and wife and drove you out of the capital. Let's go. The guard next to him stepped forward and blocked Lu Sanyang, who was about to step forward. Prince, please don't make things difficult for me. Wang Er. My Wang Er. Lu Sanyang pushed forward with force, feeling so heartbroken that he couldn't breathe and wanted to retrieve his only son. But the strange poison attacks the heart, the skill quickly dissipates, and the body is also suffering unimaginable pain. He was almost unable to stand steady, and was forcefully pushed back by the guard. He took a few steps back and used all his strength before barely collapsing. Lu Sanyang, don't cry. You are still the king of Zhenbei. You are still a great general. You have millions of brothers who lived and died with you. Lu Sanyang looked at the departing carriage and clenched his fist. Wang, you wait for Father Wang. When you return to your residence, Father Wang will bring someone to pick you up and bring you back to Jizhou. Persisting in returning to the carriage and forcefully executing the martial arts techniques taught by his master back then, Lu Sanyang only felt that his internal meridians had been completely damaged, and his martial arts spiritual roots had also collapsed. Fortunately, as a prince with some financial resources, he also enjoys refining pills. After taking a few pills and meditating for a while, he suddenly felt that his breath had become much more stable. Old Qin, go back to your residence. Although the fiefdom is in Jizhou, the ancestral home of that time is still there. Later, Lu Sanyang spent money to purchase and renovate it. Although it was not as grand as the Jizhou prince's mansion, it was still considered a magnificent mansion in the entire inner city of the capital. Just this place of grandeur, now it is cold and deserted, with the gate tightly closed, and it cannot compare to the lively little mansion brother across the street. Where are people? Lu Sanyang covered his stomach and, with the help of old Qin, got off the carriage and pushed open the thick and tall wooden door. Chapter 3. Prince, I'm sorry, we have a wife and children. You are listening at novel full.audio. The disorderly things scattered all over the ground, and the flowers, plants, and trees also suffered. Only when he was a child, he planted locust trees and stood against the wind, as if maintaining the last dignity of the royal family. Where are the people? Lu Sanyang shouted, where have they all gone? Come out to me. Old Qin, go and call them out. Yes, my lord. Lao Qin was his old soldier under his seat. When he was still a beggar, he was dirty and often bullied. Later, when Lu Sanyang saw that he was pitiful, he taught him some martial arts. He also gained momentum and gradually succeeded. He married a beautiful wife and gave birth to a child, which was considered happy and fulfilling. He ran into the house and searched for a long time before coming out. But he was the only one holding a few letters in his hand. Where are people? Lu Sanyang asked for the third time. Lao Qin shook his head and said, Prince, everyone has left. Vice General Chao, Vice General Li, and Commander Wang, they have all left. What? Lu Sanyang felt a tremble in his heart, as if the last bit of strength in his body had been stripped away and he collapsed to the ground. Prince. Lao Qin ran over and hurriedly helped Lu Sanyang up, tears streaming down his face, and he couldn't help but cry. Where have they all gone? Lao Qin shook his head and handed over the letter in his hand. Upon opening it, Lu Sanyang saw a sentence. Prince, I'm sorry, we have a wife and children. Open another one. Lord, the kindness of dripping water should have been repaid by a gushing spring, but if I don't leave, the well will dry up and the water will wither, and my body will die. Ha ha ha, what a dead end. We have a wife and children. Let's go. When the tree falls, the monkeys scatter, when the wall falls, everyone pushes. You all go. For your future, for your prosperity and honor. Old Qin, you also go. Go back to your home, go back to pick up your mother.in.law and son. I can still live well without you. Old Qin cried uncontrollably, unable to speak, and could only shake his head vigorously. Ha ha ha. Lu Sanyang looked up at the sky and laughed 3 times, great. It's great. Back then, I, Lu Sanyang, broke through this court alone, breaking through this vast expanse of the sky. Nowadays, even though the people who see profit and forget righteousness have abandoned me, my foundation still exists, and the prince's mansion of Jizhou still exists. One day, I will make you regret it. Old Qin, stop crying. Get up for me, let's go back to Jizhou. Prince, I'm afraid you won't be able to go back to Jizhou. At this moment, a crisp and pleasant voice came, as if it had been heard before, but could not be remembered for a moment. With a tone of pride, contempt, and disdain, he slowly walked out from behind the door. It's you, Rong Qingfei. The past, like a movie, quickly comes to mind. Rong Qingfei, the first-generation student of the Guozijian, Lu Sanyang opposed public opinion and introduced the first female disciple under her seat. Once upon a time, Lu Sanyang was the beacon of her life journey, and she was also one of Lu Sanyang's greatest pride when he came to this world. But pride quickly turned into arrogance. Empress can become emperor, and even women like us can surpass men. The man is vulgar and unbearable, but only I, the woman, have the virtue and lack of fragrance. Teacher, you should expel all male disciples from the prison because having me is enough for you. That time, Lu Sanyang expelled her from the academy. But soon after, she was highly valued by the Empress and rose all the way to the current Grand Master of Longtu Pavilion. Since then, she has been wanting me to become what I am today. Ha ha ha. Lu Sanyang looked at Rong Qingfei with a cold and clear gaze, like a well in winter. What? Are you trying to make me apologize for you today? A look of fear flashed in Rong Qingfei's eyes, but soon she became proud again. Teacher, isn't your current state the best proof? The male subordinates you rely on and the male disciples you are proud of have all left, haven't they? And only I, the female disciple you look down upon the most, will come to deliver your Majesty's decree to you on your way out of the mountain pass without any friends. After Rong Qingfei finished speaking, she threw the imperial edict in her hand onto Lu Sanyang's face, laughed heartily, and left happily. Laughing up from the sky and going out, are we not the people of Penghao? Lu Sanyang, don't think that only you men can cross, and we women can also cross. And I want to tell you, you will soon know that you stinky men can never compare to us women. Lu Sanyang's body stiffened suddenly, as if he had fallen into an ice cellar and was instantly frozen. So all of this was planned by you. Rong Qingfei didn't turn around, just sneered, ha ha ha. Didn't you say that? We women have narrow-mindedness. On that day, you said these words to me in front of so many people, I will never forget. Humph, but don't think too much. Whether it's your little lover or Zhang Xiang, they all want you to die. That day, I tactfully reminded you that the Empress is not the silly and sweet in your eyes. If you had listened, this world would have belonged to you and me long ago. But what about you? You insist on liking her as an ancient person and disdaining me as a simultaneous traveler. So, I want you to live in pain and then slowly die. After Rong Qingfei finished speaking, she suddenly threw a dart in her hand and flew straight towards Lu Sanyang. Lu Sanyang has now retreated to the 7th grade concentration state, and has long lost the martial artist's perception of danger. At this time, he is completely disillusioned. Thinking that he was about to die with hatred, old Qin rushed over beside him. With a swoop, the dart pierced into his back, and his clear and crying eyes shone with the last bright light. Lao Qin's lips twitched slightly, revealing a very forced smile. Prince, old slave. I can't go back to Jizhou. Take care of the old slave. Slave, take care of it. Old Qin. Lu Sanyang held his rapidly lifeless body, his hands trembling and his eyes about to crack, but he only heard Rong Qingfei's light and floating words. You don't want our biggest secret to be known to others, do you? Rong Qingfei, you despicable woman. Rong Qingfei sneered and said, Lu Sanyang, I'm flattering. If you're talking about being cheap, I can't compare to your most proud female disciple. Alright, I'm leaving. Take a good look at the edict she gave you. I hope you can still hold on. Oh, if heaven doesn't give birth to me, Empress Rongqing, the lady of the great Zhou is like a long night. Lu Sanyang wanted to chase after him, but found that Lao Qin's hand was tightly holding him, even if he was dead, he did not let go. Lao Qin. I can tolerate it. I can tolerate it. Don't worry, I, Lu Sanyang, will definitely take back your wife and children and let them live carefree. Gently placing the body of Lao Qin and picking up the imperial edict, Lu Sanyang immediately froze in place, striving not to fall down. Following the fate of heaven, Prince Lu Sanyang of Zhenbei was proud of his achievements and had no eyes for the emperor. He should have been imprisoned and exterminated by the 9 clans. But I am kind-hearted, empathetic towards meritorious officials, and willing to exclude public opinions before allowing you to move to Mozhou and continue to be the king. I hope you will always think of your kindness, not betray the imperial mandate, and dedicate yourself wholeheartedly to protect the natural danger for me, becoming the gatekeeper of my great Zhou for generations. Ha ha ha. Generations. Generations. I, Lu Sanyang, have fought half of the battle for you in Dazhou, but now I cannot enter the level for life. Lu Sanyang's blood surged and he clenched his fists. Knowing that Empress Rong Qingfei was listening outside, he also wanted to say that heinous and immoral sentence. Just then, a ding sound rang in my mind. As if the dying person heard the call to persevere, Lu Sanyang looked at the blue screen that lit up in front of him. Chapter 4. Princess 9. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Detected the host's wife's betrayal, and Wang heir was robbed. In order to compensate for the host's loss, the Duozi Duofu system has been loaded. The blue cursor flickered incessantly, as if warm currents were gushing out from the depths of the void. Detected damage to the host's spiritual roots and meridians, but the system is not inexhaustible and can only repair one item. Considering that the host is seeking revenge and needs to be promoted to the first-level martial god realm, the system begins to repair the spiritual roots. Lu Sanyang felt that the power of warmth was becoming stronger and stronger, and something in his body was rapidly restoring vitality. The spiritual roots have been repaired. Please welcome your wife and concubine as soon as possible to receive system rewards. Note 1. The higher the score of a wife or concubine, the richer the reward. Note 2. To prevent the host from spoiling up, the score for marrying wives and concubines must be higher and higher. Please treat it with caution. Traveling through 20 years, I followed my master to practice martial arts in the first 10 years, and in the following 10 years, I fought in the officialdom. I have never seen any signs of system loading. Ha ha ha. Heaven won't kill me. Heaven won't kill me. Lu Sanyang turned around and looked at the old house. He took out the flint from his arms and ignited the splendid and prosperous world, as well as the loyal old servant. I advise you to drink another glass of wine, leaving Yangguan to the west without any old friends. No one said goodbye, no one cheered. One person, one horse, one long sword, one ashes. When Lu Sanyang passed by Jizhou, he did not return to the Wang mansion. Because that place is no longer his home. Now he is not suitable for taking on old Qin's wife and children. Even after leaving Shanhaiguan, he did not look back at the Central Plains. Because there is only hatred and hatred. But the new environment is even worse. Mozhou is thousands of miles away, just like Xinjiang in that world, with vast territory and flat terrain like a river. But there are no major rivers in the region, only the water of Tsangshan freezes in winter and rises in summer, forming the largest river in the state, the Winter River. To survive, ordinary people have to constantly follow the riverbank and migrate with cattle, sheep, and livestock. In addition, the demon tribe often plunders from the Tsangshan mountains, making the lives of the people extremely difficult. After 5 years of recapturing Mozhou in the Great Zhou dynasty, only one commander-in chief was established, with a total of 5,000 soldiers and generals. The newly appointed commander-in-chief is Brunei, the political rival of Lu Sanyang and the brother of the female official Wen Qing who holds the seal. The Empress quickly urged her to take office, and her intention was clear at a glance. According to the information provided by the spy along the way, Lu Sanyang has confirmed 3 things. The Wang mansion does not have it. Servants need to be recruited by themselves. But money is not available. The military generals were coerced and lured by the Empress, and 90% of them had already defected. Those who have not rebelled cannot make it through. Lu Sanyang pulled the old horse and stood for a while, looking at the vast desert in front of him. Remembering some female emperors in previous life novels who treated meritorious officials, I only felt that they were truly great people. The ancient road is a lean horse with a west wind. Humph, the most miserable prince in history is none other than this. A small bridge flows through a house. At this moment, a voice came. Lu Sanyang looked up and saw a woman standing on a nearby sand dune in the desert. The sand wind blew everywhere, causing her 100-colored gauze skirt to rustle and contouring the curve of her left body. Slim, seductive, sexy, she was wearing a bamboo hat on her head, with a white scarf tied in front of it, making it difficult to see her appearance clearly. Is the girl from the Fox clan. 5 years ago, the demon tribe did not retreat immediately when they saw the situation was not right, as stated in his memorial. The current 3 leaders of the demon tribe, the leader of the Fox tribe, Hu Ling, wanted to ambush 1,000 miles. He took advantage of the landing of the Sanyang army and left the border to make dumplings for them. Lu Sanyang used his troops like a god, and from the appearance and strange eyes of the demon soldiers, he could see the clues. He also received some favorable warnings from the demon tribe women, so he divided the army in 2. Part of it is used as bait, heading towards Zhongshan and making a sudden attack. Part of them ambushed the demon soldiers and wrapped them in dumplings in reverse. When Lu Sanyang was about to execute the fox order, his 9 female fox charmers appeared. Lu Sanyang only then realized that the woman who was warned at that time was this woman. On that day, each retreated 1 step, and the 2 armies made peace. When Lu Sanyang bid farewell, he sent her this poem. The woman didn't answer and walked steadily. The sand wind is still rising, but the face is becoming clearer and clearer. She is not like the people here, with dark skin and a fierce appearance. But rather with a charming appearance and affectionate eyes. A tall nose bridge, with the upright and handsome appearance of people from the western regions, as well as the smooth and gentle beauty of women from the central plains. Her face, like a mixed race of that world, perfectly blends the charm and sentimentality of the West and the softness of the East like water. Princess Jiu. Lu Sanyang was slightly taken aback, and couldn't help but think of the day she left. She looked back at each other 3 times. I haven't seen you for 5 years, but the prince still remembers me. Her voice is sweet and sticky, not deliberately seductive, but even more alluring than deliberate. Fox tribe. Taking flattery as the foundation of establishing a family. Even the men are incredibly handsome, with their appearance tucked in yen and surpassing Hugo. Is Princess Jiu here to see my king's joke? Before parting, the princess said. The empress is suspicious and naturally jealous. He achieved great success and had no desires or requests. As a prince, he didn't even have a concubine. One day, the empress will destroy it in order to seek peace of mind. Hu Mei didn't speak, but circled around Lu Sanyang and finally lightly tapped her slender middle and ring fingers on his back. Using 2 fingers as feet and the remaining fingers as hands, slowly crawl along Lu Sanyang's spine and finally wrap around his shoulder. In the latter's gaze, he crawled his finger to his chin and gently touched his long uncut beard. Haven't you seen him in 5 years? Is the prince so old? Lu Sanyang opened her hand and said, from teaching time to urge the development of China, who knows how to appreciate the world. If Princess Nine comes to mock me for being old, please feel free. Hu Mei sighed and said, the prince's demotion to Mozhou by the empress this time is like a holy star falling from the mortal world. I thought the prince would be more polite to me, but I didn't expect it to remain so. Hu Mei spoke and suddenly chuckled, and the spring breeze was full of beauty. I felt sorry for myself when the flowers bloomed. However, this palace just likes your appearance, and only in this way can we deserve the title of Holy Heavenly God King of our divine race. Lu Sanyang listened to the bright moon and understood her purpose of coming. Princess Jiu's trip is to invite me to join your demon tribe. But this king. Hu Mei extended a little finger and pressed it against Lu Sanyang's mouth. A natural fragrance, like blooming peonies, reaches the nose. And there was that faint sweetness, like summer ice cream, cold and sweet, flowing down my lips and into my mouth. Is this the innate 9-turned fox fragrance of the 9-tailed heavenly fox clan? Lu Sanyang remembered the activated system and the prompt that the higher the score, the richer the reward. My mind couldn't help but flutter, looking at the fox's charming, passionate, beautiful, and gentle face. A value quickly appeared in front of me. 900 points. Tip. This woman is a top performer in terms of appearance, temperament, and temperament. Would you like to target her as a strategic target? If the strategy is successful, the reward will definitely be high. But if you want to find other wives and concubines later on, the difficulty will double. Lu Sanyang recalled the women he had seen over the years. Based on intuition, there are only 3 women who can match the fox charm in appearance. And these 3 women are now his enemies. Empress Phoenix. Hand-printed female official text is green. The lowly woman Rong Qingfei who came through time travel. Prince, am I so good? Looking. When hesitating, a seductive voice came. The fox is not as shy and cowardly as a woman from the Central Plains, but rather like a peony, fully showcasing her beauty and charm. Chapter 5. Past Events. You are listening at novelfull.audio. If this woman marries, great revenge is hard to avenge. Lu Sanyang regained his sanity. Princess Jiao, as a human race, I cannot cooperate with you to attack Dazhou. Please go back. But Lu Sanyang still underestimated the abilities of the fox tribe. Hu Mei had already seen a heartbeat in his eyes. And this thing, 5 years ago, she wanted it all. She let out a coquettish snort, and her address and tone changed accordingly. You heartless person, when they heard that you were demoted to the position of king in Mozhou, they secretly came here to wait for you without telling my father. Humph, it's been 2 whole months now. They've been looking forward to the stars and the moon, and the entire winter river is almost submerged in the confused bridge we used to part ways with, finally bringing you here. But what about you heartless person? You don't ask or say anything when you come, you just know how to drive them away. Deep in love, with a clear expression, tears burst out. Lu Sanyang fought for several years, resisting the monk soldiers in the west and attacking the southern barbarians in the south. He had seen too many life and death separations, love and hate. After the persecution of the Empress, I realized that women are fickle. I believe that the truth lies in the scarcity of women. Looking at the fox's seductive demeanor, the already frozen heart slowly melted like this winter river. Princess Jiao, I told you back then that you and I are different from human demons, and it's not good for anyone. Hu Mei is a fox seductive child, who doesn't care about you so much. As Lu Sanyang's tone softened and his attitude warmed, he hugged his lover's waist and gently rubbed his head against the chest of Landing Sanyang. Since there is a difference, why do you still remember what happened back then? If there is a difference, why did you voluntarily withdraw from the army back then? Lord, although Xiaojiu is the youngest of the 9 sisters, she has lived for nearly 300 years. She has seen too many people and heard too many stories. She lightly tapped Lu Sanyang's chest with her middle finger and said, I've already heard it from here, you have me in your heart. But Princess 9, my king. Oh, what kind of king is not king? She's still a princess, isn't she worthy of you? Hu Mei said, regardless of whether Lu Sanyang agreed or not, she immediately transformed into a fox spirit that entangled people and jumped onto Lu Sanyang's back. Do you still remember the first time we met back then? You were really stupid back then. I only saved a cute little fox with my front foot, and with my back foot limping, you don't know who I am anymore. Also tell me, little girl, this is the territory of the demon tribe, with many wolves, tigers, and leopards. Don't come out alone. I'll just say, this young master, he has a leg injury and can't go home even if he wants to. As for you, you were injured and insisted on carrying me home, but as a result, you were almost recognized by my father. Now, I also want you to carry me on your back and go to the new home prepared for you in this palace. The past is vividly remembered. The beauty that was originally lost in my heart is slowly emerging. The heart that was deeply hurt by the woman is slowly healing. Lu Sanyang no longer refused, but instead embraced the soft, warm, and elastic buttocks behind him with his back, gently sending them up. Humph, are you okay to say that if it weren't for you deceiving me back then, would I have fallen into the trap? Would it have caused military trouble? Humph, didn't they give you a hint? Otherwise, could you make dumplings with my dad? You don't even know, but later on, my dad found out and almost opened my buttocks. Lu Sanyang lightly patted her buttocks and said, "You deserve it. As the human race says, the kindness of a drop of water should be repaid by a gushing spring. I risked my life to save you, but you led me into the wolf's den. If I were your father, you wouldn't be able to get up now." Fox coquettishly snorted, "Humph, just blow it up. At that time, you didn't come to save me because you saw the beauty and cuteness of this palace. Even though you were just a disciple, you still had to pretend to be a saint. Didn't you, the fox tribe, say that I am the holy heavenly king, and I am even more holy than a saint?" Hu Mei chuckled at the words. Lu Sanyang felt a soft and warm lump on his back, constantly trembling and shaking, as if he was about to jump out of his body. He lightly patted her perky buttocks again and said, "Why smile? Cluck. Do you know what kind of person the holy heavenly god king is in our demon race? Isn't it like a Confucian sage? Cluck. Our demon tribe doesn't have so much benevolence, righteousness, and propriety. What we worship is to have more children and strive to defeat those bald donkeys as soon as possible and reclaim the holy mountain of the demon tribe. So, our holy heavenly king, the most obvious characteristic is having many wives, concubines, and children. No one like you, who pretends to be a noble human prince." Lu Sanyang suddenly remembered his own system. "You know, I pretended to be aloof and came to wait for me. After all these days, if your dad knew, it would be time to hit you again." "Oh, I'm not afraid. Dad is breaking through the 3rd grade, it's a year and a half, it won't come out." "What about your 8 sisters? Don't they care about you anymore?" "Oh, they're all busy looking for their husbands, how can they manage me?" Hu Mei said, shook her body, found the most suitable position, and leaned on Lu Sanyang's back, saying, "But I haven't been idle for the past 2 months either. I know you're new here, and the Empress is deliberately making things difficult. She definitely won't build a royal mansion for you, so I asked my 9 brothers to build a royal mansion for you. Here, that's the sand dune I came to. You can climb up and see it. Thanks to the system repairing the spiritual roots, after 2 months on the road, Lu Sanyang, relying on his experience back then, has become a 9th grade great warrior. Holding a horse in one hand and holding a fox's seductive buttocks in the other, he hurried towards the hill. Hu Meizi happily sang the song that Landing Sanyang had sung to her on her back. "The king called me to patrol the mountains. I'll take a stroll around the world, play my drums and gongs, and life will be full of rhythm. Hurry up, hurry up. Have you really become an old prince? Why aren't you as fast as when you were injured back then?" The 2 of them ran to the top of the hill to take a look. The terrain is flat, with flying sand for thousands of miles. 5 miles away, there stands a large royal mansion. Surrounding the Wang mansion, several villages, like stars, are scattered among small lakes and forests, resembling a densely populated county town. The past may be like smoke, but we cannot let go or forget it. The current situation is difficult, but we cannot give up or lose." Lu Sanyang turned his head and looked at Hu Mei. The sand breeze gently brushed her fair and beautiful face, beautiful as a painting, delicate and tender. "Princess Jiu, to be honest, now that my cultivation has been abolished and my military power has been taken away, I am here in Mozhou. It's just that some people don't want to die too easily. I am no longer the heroic young man, the holy Buddha of Dozhan, the 9th generation spiritual guru, and the holy heavenly god king that you once recognized. I want to ask you, are you still willing to give me the most precious 4th centenary of your demon tribe, as you joked back then?" Chapter 6. The Least Demon Clan, One Child with 9 Treasures. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The fox's long eyelashes, like fans, gently twitched a few times, and her beautiful and clear eyes emitted a natural, gentle, resolute, and playful light. "Of course not." Lu Sanyang's expression suddenly froze, and then he smiled calmly. "That's right. You're a 6th grade, and in your demon tribe, you're also considered a big demon. I'm just a 9th grade martial artist, so I'm a bit arrogant. Lu Sanyang didn't finish speaking, but he felt a fragrant breeze rushing towards him. His passionate and fiery lips kissed his dry and astringent lips. Fox's eyes were filled with tears of happiness and excitement, wetting her long eyelashes and reflecting sunlight, shining like gold. Her red lips moved gently, looking at her lover with deep affection and greed. Her voice was clear and moving, like the sound of heaven. Little fool, how can 100 years be enough? What I want is a lifetime, never to be separated. The yellow sand is still here, and the north wind is not warm. The passion of Lu Sanyang, extinguished by 3 women, was like a wildfire in a strong wind, rapidly sweeping through his entire body, unstoppable and difficult to extinguish. He hugged the witch in front of him, greedily and moved, sucking on her hot lips. 2 tightly embraced each other, the flames of love burning wildly before their red lips. They fell in the embrace of love and fire, rolling along the sand dunes towards the sandy ground below. But between them, there seemed to be countless threads tied together, not only not separated, but also becoming increasingly tight. They rolled faster, hotter, and deeper. He took off his shirt, gasped heavily, and looked at the seductive and passionate witch on his body. "Jior, I want you to give me a fox cub." She chuckled, her voice like a wind chime in the wind. "Isn't that okay?" "Why?" "Because our demon race has the fewest offspring, with 9 treasures in 1 child. That's just 10. Oh, my lord, this is outside, they are shy. Isn't it true that your demon race is all made by heaven and made by earth? Oh, does that person itch? Where does it itch?" Hu Mei scratched her back and said, "Prince, you're bad. He's got sand in his back." She suddenly reacted again, her face turning red. "Oh, sure enough, you villain, you're all pretending. You're not a gentleman at all, you're a disciple. Humph, you lied to them, they ignored you." Seeing her like that, her back didn't itch anymore, but his heart itched. "Xiaojiu, wait for me." "Hee, okay, then you can catch up with me first." She started running ahead, the wind blowing her hair in gauze skirt, not like a demon, but rather like a fairy. He shook his head, put on his clothes, and gracefully, only to find that she had taken off her outer veil. The north wind howled and blew the gauze clothes, slowly unfolding, drifting towards a wild dog who wanted to glimpse this sweet and happy moment, covering his eyes. Half an hour later. The wind has stopped, the water has stopped. He sat on the sand dune, watching the palace that his lover had given him. She lay on the sand, with her head resting on his legs and her hand holding his hand. She slept soundly and sweetly, reminding him of the little fox he had seen that day. Fox coquettishness. As expected, fox coquettishness. "I finally learned your skills today." Lu Sanyang sighed in his heart, sweet and happy, and remembered that song. On a cloudy day, in the evening, outside the car window, there is someone waiting in the future. Perhaps there will still be someone in the future, but the woman in front of him will always be his beloved. Just like when I made this oath to that woman in my heart. The sound of ding interrupted his caressing of his lover's hair, and a line of prompts appeared before his eyes. Congratulations to the host for successfully capturing the heart of the 9th princess of the Fox tribe and achieving the true achievement of husband and wife. The reward has been distributed. Lu Sanyang's eyes were blurred as he looked at the blue screen up close. In the item list, there is a black sign and a green bead lying. Good weather and favorable weather. The Confucian sage's talismanship is refined without paying any price. Note 1. Although tokens are good, they cannot be addictive. They can only be used 3 times a month, and can be used a total of 100 times. Note 2. The range of the token is 1,000 miles, be sure to keep an eye on the location before using it. The reason why Mozhou doesn't have much property is not because the land is barren. On the contrary, Mozhou was originally the seabed, with abundant sea mud reserves. However, due to years of lack of rain and water, it has dried up and weathered, resulting in the formation of many saline alkali lands. But as long as the water is abundant and the surface salinity and alkalinity are moderately suppressed, these barren lands in Zhangjiulu's mouth can produce unimaginable fruits. With this order, with 3 heavy rains in a month, within 6 months, this world can add at least 100 oases. With an oasis, there are cows, sheep, and horses, and there is capital to strengthen oneself. Lu Sanyang lightly kissed his lover's forehead and continued to look at the second sign. Heaven and earth gathering spirit beads. The token obtained by the Taoist ancestor in refining the rootless tree in the immortal realm can bring together the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. Note 1. The beads are not only good, but also very moist. Note 2. This gem is a magical tool that is not limited in number of times, but requires injecting a certain amount of Tao spirit. Note 3. This gem looks small, but its range is really small, only 100 miles. In this world, Buddhism, Taoism, Confucianism, and martial arts coexist, and different practices lead to different gains and uses. Buddhist practice relies entirely on the chanting power of the people, so monks have always promoted Buddhism, bound the people, and obtained a continuous stream of chanting power towards the Buddha. The cultivation of Taoism relies on the spiritual power of heaven and earth, so one often resides in the mountains and rivers, arranges formations and tries to refine the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. Confucianism is similar to Buddhism, relying on the hearts of the people, as well as the talent and righteousness accumulated from this heart. Therefore, over the past 10,000 years, there have been multiple conflicts between Buddhism and Confucianism, each attempting to infiltrate each other's spheres of influence. The path of martial arts relies on personal physical and mental refinement. Therefore, it is necessary to constantly fight and hone, and understand this dharma from life and death. Seize the power of medicine and food again, continuously improve physical strength and cultivation. Lu Sanyang was once a third-rank warrior, and before Duke Haiqing left the border, he was the only one in the entire Zhou dynasty. Previously persecuted by the Empress and abandoned by her ex-wife, now comforted and comforted by her lover, just like the tempered steel, one's heart has long been incomparable. However, physical cultivation requires a large amount of elixirs and unique herbs, which cannot be separated from the cultivation methods of Taoism. With this token, I can gather the spiritual power of heaven and earth and cultivate the necessary medicinal herbs on my own. But I am a martial artist and do not have a Taoist spirit, while Xiaojiu is a demon tribe. Although he shares the same origin as the Taoist sect, he is far from it. Hey, it seems that I can't love her with all my heart. I need to find a Taoist woman as soon as possible. However, among the women in this sect, there is only the legendary leader of the Feizong sect in Jiangnan who is comparable to my youngest daughter. The 3 schools of Taoism. Sword sect. Cultivates swords, qi, and intentions. Dharma sect. Cultivating dharma, formation, and talismans. Gui zone. Repairing corpses, puppets, and spirits. Among the 3 sect leaders, the Gui sect is male, and the sword sect is female. The head of the sword sect, Luo Yulian, has been in seclusion for many years and has not been seen by anyone for decades. She doesn't know if her appearance is good or bad. The head of the Fa Zong Dao, Xiao Ningji, is a person with a skin like Ningji and a body like Pianhong, who is like a fairy sister. Hey, according to my original identity, perhaps I can obtain it. Now that my realm has been lost and my status is no longer there, I'm afraid the toad wants to eat swan meat. Anyway. I have 9 sons. As she said, the demon race has the least number, with 9 treasures in 1 child. I estimate there will be new rewards soon. Lu Sanyang burst into laughter, picked up his charming lover, and let old Ma follow him slowly towards the royal mansion. Chapter 7. This prince's mansion must be demolished today. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. In the spacious front court of the Wang mansion, two groups of people stood opposite each other, with long swords in hand and bows and arrows on the strings. A big war is on the verge of breaking out. There were only 9 of them on one side, each dressed in fox fur and fur, with handsome and beautiful faces. Put it in that world, it's a safe love beanball. The leader is about 27 or 8 years old, with a sword-like eyebrow, a strong and heroic spirit, and a pair of fox eyes. He looks at the other person with violence and disdain. Zhang Daolong, 5 years ago, you followed behind my 9 brother.in.law, like a dog, no different. Why, I haven't seen my master for 5 years and forget who raised me. Zhang Daolong is in his 40s, short and chubby, holding a 3-foot large knife in his hand, and hanging a golden sign around his waist. This is the emblem of the Mozhou Protectorate Cavalry. Behind him, there were over 100 elite samurai soldiers, with arrows hanging from their tips, burning fiercely. 9 brother.in.law. Zhang Daolong snorted coldly, "Oh, Huan, you call so affectionately. What's wrong with intimacy? I just called out. 9 brother.in.law. 9 brother.in.law. With the surname Zhang, if you have the ability, let your soldiers shoot an arrow to try it out." Zhang Daolong narrowed his small eyes and looked at a soldier behind him. The person nodded, and with a snort, a rocket flew out, heading towards the plaque of meritorious service in Qinqiu. Huan snorted coldly, and a wave spread from his body, immediately forming a blue barrier and bouncing the arrows away. "Zhang, you really have a lot of courage, right? I've been practicing for 2 months and just waiting for my 9th brother.in.law to come. Are you really going to shoot me?" "Humph, your royal mansion was built without the approval of the court. I came here today to follow the rules. Huan, if you dare to stop the fox demon again, you will be killed to death." Huan let out a yelp and spat thick phlegm 10 centimeters in front of Zhang Daolong. "Damn it. 5 years ago, this desert was a middle ground. If it weren't for my demon tribe reaching an agreement with my 9th brother.in.law, would you have the right to serve here? Oh, what's wrong? Now my 9th brother.in.law is coming to become a prince. You heartless human bastards, don't come and help build it. I can't bear to be a hero of the 9 sisters' husband generation. I have suffered this injustice and came to build it. What's bothering you? What a special thing, don't think that I'm afraid of you humans just because there are few people. Our fox tribe has a 300,000 strong army, which is just 100 miles away. If you have the ability, just shoot another one. If I don't skin you today, I won't believe in foxes." Zhang Daolong sneered and said, "Huan, what are you boasting about? I have also been an official here for 5 years, why don't I know? Your fox clan was indeed the leader of the demon clan back then, but since the battle against the group of bald donkeys in the western regions, the elite members of your clan have lost more than half, and the total number of people in your clan is only 50,000. Humph, in recent years, in order to consolidate the status of the Fox clan, your Fox clan royal family has allowed 9 princesses to seduce men everywhere with the intention of strengthening themselves. Ha ha ha. I'm also a 6th grade martial artist. Why, it's really not possible. You can also marry those 9 sisters to me, and I'll make her happy every night." A group of soldiers behind them burst out laughing at the words. Huan's lips trembled with anger and he shouted angrily, 8 brothers, this human race is bullying too much. Come on, form a formation." Upon hearing these words, the 8 men behind them began to practice their spells, drawing ghostly runes in their hands and shooting them all into the air. The talisman pattern is like a star, emitting several rays of light, connecting nearby talismans to form a huge fox phantom. Zhang Daolong was not afraid at all and sneered, 9 useless things, combined to be so big, are not as good as that fox-like person. All soldiers obey my orders, don't worry about these useless foxes, burn down illegal buildings like the North Prince's mansion. The fox young masters immediately became nervous and pale upon hearing these words. But although this fox formation has great power, it cannot leave its position. Only the most handsome fox young master let out a soft sigh and said, "Ah, since ancient times, there has been a lot of love and empty hatred. This eye is endless. Big brother, I think we should withdraw. Maybe Jiu-Meifu doesn't really care about us. Jiu-Meifu, he will go somewhere else." "Hey, this is really ancient times." Huan interrupted angrily, "Lu, don't read poetry. Let's hold on for a while. You go see if Jiu-Mei has taken care of Jiu-Mei's husband. Big brother, as soon as I leave, this fox formation will no longer be possible. You can't withstand so many rockets. You'll burn your fox fur soon, and when you go back, you'll be scolded by your mother." When the foxes heard this, their faces changed. Huan could only helplessly roar, "My surname is Zhang. When my ninth sister and her husband come back, you see how you die." Zhang Dalong just snorted coldly and waved his hand. "Today, the heavenly king Laozi has arrived. This royal mansion also needs to be demolished. Shoot. I see who dares." At this moment, a sharp shout came, loud and majestic. A soldier who showed too much enthusiasm, as soon as he saw the arrow about to fly out, quickly pressed the arrow down. The arrow hissed and bounced off the ground, directly hitting Zhang Dalong's buttocks. He immediately caught fire on his buttocks, but dared not use his hands to pounce, fearing that the soldiers behind him might have misunderstood and shot out with a shudder. Because he recognized that it was that person's voice. Although his cultivation has been abolished. Although his military power has been taken away. Although he is no longer the military god guarding Zhou. But for him, this is an indelible memory brought by 3 years of military service. He made him stay still, but deep down he dared not move. "I am a lowly official, Zhang Dalong. I have met the prince." After saying these words, he dared to hit his butt against the pillar and wipe out the spark. "Zhang Dalong, how brave you are. You dare to burn down my king's mansion." Zhang Dalong trembled uncontrollably, striving to maintain the dignity and character of a school rider. "Your Highness, I have also been ordered by the commander-in-chief." "Humph, he's a small third-rank official who dares to cause trouble in my lord's mansion. Go back and ask him. I'm here. Why didn't he come to greet me?" Zhang Dalong knew that Brunei's move was intended to give Lu Sanyang a boost, but he dared not argue much and only truthfully reported it. "Report to the prince, the commander-in-chief originally wanted to come and pick him up, but your majesty has heard that the recent tension in the northern border has led to a special increase of 15,000 troops to the commander-in-chief. The commanding officer had no choice but to let the villains come to greet the prince and destroy this illegal building." "Humph, illegal construction. Is this taught by Master Rome?" "I don't know." "Humph, since you don't know, why don't you get out of here?" "Prince, but what's going on? Do I need your approval from the protectorate to build a house on my fiefdom?" Zhang Dalong trembled with fear and quickly knelt down on the ground. "Prince, I dare not be a villain, it's just that the commanding officer said." "What are you saying?" "I say this mansion has ruined the feng shui of the entire Wenquan County." With a loud and powerful voice, a purple-clad official walked in with great ambition. Chapter 8. You are truly the divine king, so invite the dragon king. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. He is 30.2 years old, with a majestic appearance and a burly and upright figure. The roughness and arrogance unique to martial artists are fully reflected in him. He walked in like that, and Ling Li's gaze swept over the elite soldiers before finally stopping at Zhang Dalong. "Useless thing, step back." "Yes, Lord One." Zhang Dalong's neck shrank in fear and quickly took a step back with the elite soldiers. Brunei is not only a 5th-rank warrior, but also a 3rd-rank warrior. Among the military officials, only the 2nd rank ranks higher. Furthermore, his sister is Wen Qingqing, a prominent female official with a palm print. This position is in the previous dynasty, which is the eunuch of palm printing. Accompanied by His Majesty at all times, with a high position and power, it is not something that a small 7th-grade school writer can match. Brunei stepped forward and lightly clenched his fist, but did not show the proper courtesy of being a half-minister to the prince. Your Highness, I will go and receive the army. I am half a step late. Please forgive me, Your Highness. After he finished speaking, he looked at the fox girl beside Lu Sanyang, raised his eyebrows lightly, and said with a smile on his face. I have long heard of Princess Hu Jiao's national beauty and heavenly fragrance. Among the entire fox tribe, only Princess Chang, Hu Jiao, is slightly better. Seeing her today, she is indeed very beautiful. The fox coquettishly snorted and ignored. Lu Sanyang said, Did Lord Wen come today to praise his wife? Nizi. Brunei was slightly taken aback, with a somewhat surprised expression, but within expectations. Ha ha ha. Now that the emperor is far away, the prince has finally stopped hiding. Lu Sanyang's expression remained calm. Sir Wen, at that time, my king was being interrogated by His Majesty's court, and you were also present. The civil servant group led by my younger sister and Empress Rong Qingfei, strongly accuses the king of colluding with the demon clan. I have come to Mozhou now. If I don't do something, wouldn't it disappoint my younger sister and others? The meaning of Lu Sanyang's words is very clear. As a dignified northern prince, he was completely forced by Wen Qingqing and others to collude with the demon tribe. Brunei's mouth twitched slightly, and a fierce look flashed in his eyes. Prince, what are you doing here in Mozhou? I believe you must be clear about it, right? I don't know. Okay, I will soon let the prince know. Brunei waved his hand and Zhang Dalong stepped forward. Brunei pointed to the sign that had made great contributions and said, Shoot him down for me. Zhang Dalong looked at Lu Sanyang and said, Master Wen, here. Brunei shouted loudly, Mr. Zhang. What? My words don't matter in Mozhou. Zhang Dalong looked at Lu Sanyang again. Lu Sanyang then said, Master Wen, what a great official authority. My lord's mansion is located in Mozhou, which is my lord's fiefdom. As the imperial protector, Lord Wen is an auxiliary official. Even if he is of the 3rd rank, how dare he destroy this prince's mansion? Brunei sneered, the prince not only has a weakened cultivation, but his brain is also not working well. Didn't I just say that the prince's mansion has damaged the feng shui of Wenquan County and must be demolished today? Huan saw his brother-in-law Jiao come and admitted this matter in front of everyone, and his courage immediately became fat. He withdrew from the demon formation and angrily cursed, Brunei, you dog official are so unreasonable. My 9th brother-in-law, this younger brother of the mansion, is the place where my demon tribe priests have seen it, it is the bloodline of Xinglong. My 9th brother-in-law, who is honored as a prince, is a 4-clawed heavenly dragon, only 1 rank lower than your Empress Dowager of the Zhou dynasty. He is worthy of revitalizing Mozhou. Brunei, however, was already prepared and laughed loudly, then waved. After the soldiers, an old woman walked out wearing a strange dress full of camel hair and hanging a bell. She held a cane in her hand, with a golden sheep head attached to the tip of the cane. The old woman first bowed to Brunei, then bowed to Lu Sanyang. Lord, the old lady is Gu Erjali, a priest from Wenquan County, responsible for praying for rain and seeking blessings. After a moment of contemplation, Lu Sanyang understood Brunei's intention and said, Senior priest, may this mansion of the king have caused trouble for you. The old priest lowered his head slightly and said, Your Highness is speaking too seriously. Your Highness is the Lord of Mozhou. How dare the old lady say so? It's just that at this time in previous years, there have been 3 heavy rains in Wenquan County, and since the construction of the prince's mansion, there hasn't been even a light rain, let alone heavy rain. Prince, the spring rain is as precious as oil. Even so within the pass. Our Mozhou is located outside the pass, without any major rivers. If the spring rain is delayed for a month, hundreds of people will die. The old priest's voice trembled as she spoke, tears swirling in her eyes, accompanied by her pale black hair and withered face. It was extremely touching, and everyone wanted to take a breath for her. Brunei took the conversation and said in a high voice, "Your Majesty said, Your Majesty, you were in the hall that day. If you drink poisonous wine and don't die, then you are the patron saint of my great Zhou dynasty. Since your mansion was renovated, there has been no spring rain in this hot spring county for 2 months now. I dare ask the prince, it's not that the mansion has broken feng shui, so what should we do?" Lu Sanyang sneered and said, "Lord Wen, in your opinion, how can I prove that this feng shui is not the fault of my mansion?" Brunei smiled and said, "I had planned to invite the Dragon King and it would rain heavily, but I was afraid that I would not be able to invite the Dragon King's family. Now that the prince has been blessed by previous emperors, he will surely be able to invite the Dragon King of Mozhou to bring down the long overdue spring rain." Jiu brother.in.law. Huan walked over and said, "Don't listen to him talk nonsense. This desert is naturally dry, and it all depends on the melting and watering of the snow water in Tsangshan. There is no mention of spring rain. He's clearly trying to find an excuse to destroy your mansion, brother, make your reputation lose, and make the whole people of Mozhou see your joke." However, Lu Sanyang's face remained calm, as if he had already prepared. "So if I invite you, what should Lord Wen do?" Mozhou, as Huan said, relies entirely on the melting snow water from Tsangshan, and only occasionally rains in June. And it's mostly at night. Once the sun comes out and the temperature rises, the rain will stop. Especially at noon, it's impossible for it to rain. Since the prince has a heart for the people and is willing to personally pray for rain, I naturally cannot be stingy. If the prince can really pray for rain at 3:15 p.m. today, then I will personally send 10,000 taels of hien to congratulate the prince on the landing of his new house. This is impossible. Huan was so angry that he trembled all over. I have come to Mozhou no less than 1,000 times, and I have never seen it rain at noon before. You. Lu Sanyang interrupted him and looked at the old priest, "Then please ask the old man to return to the county temple to prepare for the rain prayer ceremony. I will arrive before 3/4 of noon." The old priest was also taken aback. She has lived in Mozhou for 80 years and has never seen it rain at noon. Originally, she didn't want to make things difficult for the prince who helped them drive away the demon tribe and allowed him to enjoy 5 years of peace. But she is just a little priestess, unable to fight against the towering Brunei. The old lady takes orders. After achieving Brunei's goal, he sneered, "Prince, please take a break. Our official county temple is waiting for you." Chapter 9. Meeting of Old People. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 9brother.in.law, you can't do this. Brunei, you dog official, don't leave. Huan was so anxious that the fox's tail was almost exposed. 9brother.in.law, you want it to rain at noon in Mozhou, it's even harder than reaching a peace treaty with your father back then. You've been deceived, you know. Hey. Jiumei, why are you so immature? You know you miss men, but you don't know how to tell your own men about the situation. Huan scratched his ears as he spoke. What should I do? What should I do? I'm so angry. I'm so angry. How did they know that Brunei is so bad? If they come, they will trouble the prince. Humei stuck out her tongue, made a face, and looked at Lu Sanyang. Seeing his calm expression, she inexplicably trusted in her heart. Humph, but the princes in this palace are not comparable to those surnamed emperors' wine bags and rice bags. There must be a way out. Humph, you see my 9th brother.in.law, I don't think about anything anymore. I'm too lazy to tell you. Huan looked at Lu Sanyang and said, Jill brother.in.law, please come with me to the backyard first. Some people want to see you. Lu Sanyang looked at the sign of Gong in Qianqiu and felt a little comfort in his heart. This plaque was given to him by his father.in.law back then, but it was hung at the last entrance during his time in Jizhou, representing his last great victory in life. Nowadays, a few members of the Fox tribe have hung it at the front, which actually indicates that someone has come to the Jizhou prince's mansion. But he doesn't know who exactly it is. Human nature is unpredictable. Lu Sanyang thought of several beloved vice-generals leaving without saying goodbye, and thought of Lao Qin's leap that disregarded life and death, feeling a lot in his heart. Nodding slightly, as soon as I entered the backyard, I saw a group of people kneeling there. The leader is an old man, who has been following his old servant Kai Shu since childhood. The wealthy man couldn't help but shed tears as he saw the young master who was deeply in love return. Prince, you have finally returned. A group of women, maids, men, and women behind them also began to cry. Prince. Lu Sanyang strode over and helped Uncle Kai up. Uncle Kai, you've suffered. You all got up too. Everyone stood up, but couldn't stop crying. Prince, I'm not suffering. I'm just worried about the prince. Originally, I wanted to come to the capital to find the prince, but... The wealthy man spoke with tears choking his throat, unable to speak, and it took him a while to continue. Prince, Mr. Xiang said that the prince has a royal aura to protect him, so it's not like those cunning and sycophantic people can deceive him. I don't know how to do it. When there are too many people, it still stands out, but when I go, it only adds to the burden on the prince. Prince, the old slave is useless. I haven't saved the Jizhou prince's mansion. I haven't saved the dignity of the Lu family's ancestors. Lu Sanyang had actually seen a few guards who came and knew some things, so he grabbed the hands of the wealthy man heavily. Kai Shu, the prince's mansion in Jizhou is gone. We can rebuild it. If our ancestors' face is gone, I can fight back. But if you're dead, how can I face my parents, how can I face Aunt Kai? It's good if you're alive. It's good if you're alive. For a moment, maids and mother.in.law of all sizes in the mansion came to pay their respects to their most admired master, the most precious prince in their lives. Lu Sanyang sat down in the inner hall and asked, Uncle Kai Shu, where are Mr. Xiang and my master? Mr. Xiang was his enlightenment mentor on the path of literature and also his military advisor during his battles. He had a deep emotional connection and could not betray him. It's just that I didn't follow him to the capital in order to stay in Jizhou. Prince, Mr. Xiang knows that you have just arrived in Jizhou, and you are not familiar with the local customs and people's situation, so he took people to visit everywhere. As the wealthy man spoke, tears welled up again. As for Lord Hong, he was seriously injured and his life was in danger while leading us out of the Wang mansion. Mr. Xiang asked him to recuperate in the pass. Disappointment surged again in Lu Sanyang's heart. What about the Shaoxi camp? They have a total of 20,000 people, all of whom are the elite selected by the king himself. It's impossible that they can't even protect your safety. Have they all betrayed the king? The wealthy man sighed and said, Prince, although you personally trained the Shaoxi camp, people's hearts are separated and cannot see through. Upon hearing that you were deposed from cultivation in the capital, there was a disagreement within them. Several teams fought against each other, with most of them defecting to the four ruthless guys Ma Yuanfang, Zhao Ziliang, Wang Donglin, and Wu Daong. The remaining half have disagreements again. Half will go to the capital to save the prince, and the other half will come to Mozhou to reserve the prince's last strength. Half of the way to the capital has not returned yet. Mr. Xiang said that it is estimated that it has been secretly destroyed by Ma, Zhao, and Wang Zhu, and there are only 4,000 people left. Mr. Xiang said, the goal is too big, and the defenders of Shanhaiguan will definitely not let them come over. Let them come over in batches and in stages. Now, A month and a half have passed, and a total of 2,000 people have come. 1,000 are guarding the royal palace, and the other 1,000 have left with Mr. Ziyang. There are 1,000 left. Mr. Ziyang asked them to wait for Mr. Hong to recover from his injuries before coming over together. Lord, it's not that the old servant said, this young boy camp, with a camp but no young boys, would lead to such a situation of leaderless and disintegration. Lao Kai looked behind Lu Sanyang and said, Prince, speaking of it, where are the princess and the young prince? Lu Sanyang's face turned pale and he remained silent. Seeing this, the wealthy man slapped his thigh. Oh, my lord, the princess. She's really not a person. My lord, but... What about this little prince? He didn't come with me. Originally, I wanted to take it over, but I was deposed at that time, and Chao Meng and the others. The master and servant were speechless. After a while, Lao Kai sighed and said, Prince, as I said before, the women of this wealthy family can only be with wealth and cannot share hardships. Lu Sanyang's heart was twisted like a knife, but he felt a hand reach out and tightly grasp his own hand. Lao Kai, don't say so much. The voice was sweet and soft, and upon hearing it, Lao Kai's face immediately changed color and he chuckled. Yes, yes. What Princess Jiao said is yes. There are still good women from this wealthy family, such as Princess Jiao. The wealthy uncle was able to secure a position as a butler in the prince's mansion not only because he was an old slave of Lu Sanyang, but also because he was able to handle various relationships very well. As the conversation changed, in front of Lu Sanyang, he began to praise his fox charm, which made Lu Sanyang feel sweet and relieved. Hu Mei, however, felt a little ashamed and said, Lao Kai, don't worry about praising me. I still neglected and let Brunei take advantage of it. Lao Kai and others were still wanted criminals who prevented the destruction of the Jizhou prince's mansion by the officers and soldiers. They dare not see Brunei and others yet. They have been hiding in the backyard just now. Upon hearing this, his face changed greatly. Princess 9, what has Brunei, this dog official, done? Hu Mei told the truth about the matter, and upon hearing this, Lao Kai slammed his thigh and said, Prince, you're confused. The old servant just received a letter from Ziyang yesterday. This desert has been without rain for years and relies solely on snow water to irrigate crops. Brunei, this dog official, asked you to pray for rain at noon. Isn't this deliberately making things difficult for you and intentionally making you embarrassed? Prince, why don't you call Mr. Ziyang back? He has some knowledge of Confucian magic and may be able to seek rain. Mr. Ziyang is a 6th grade Confucian, but he is the heart sect, not the word sect, and is not good at seeking rain. No need. But the prince. Don't worry, Lao Kai. I have my own blessings, how could a small Brunei be humiliated? Chapter 10. Early Premeditation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Brunei sat in the county temple, watching the busy crowd and analyzing the current situation in Mozhou. The herdsmen here are fierce and rebellious, and it is difficult for Lu Sanyang to gather the hearts of the people as a prince here. Although the demon tribe is close to Lu Sanyang, it is only limited to the fox tribe. Other tribes, such as the most powerful tiger tribe and the vicious bear tribe, have a strained relationship with Lu Sanyang. Since Lu Sanyang's cultivation was abolished, he has lost the trust of the empress. Among the fox tribe, some people have also begun to question the strategy of the fox order and become dissatisfied with the friendly relationship between the fox tribe and Lu Sanyang. The only thing that needs to be prevented now is that this hot spring county is located in the center of the entire desert state. Once it is firmly established by Lu Sanyang, it will be very difficult for the court to control him. As the wealthiest county in the entire Mozhou except for the prefecture, Wenquan County was often harassed by demon tribes at the beginning, and it was Lu Sanyang who made them live a good life. In the hearts of most of them, they have a quite favorable impression of this Prince of Zhenbei. But today, All of this will dissipate with the rain and smoke that cannot be obtained. He was in a good mood at this moment and looked at the old priest. Your Highness, are you ready for the sacrificial ceremony? The old priest approached and bowed in reply, Your Excellency, we are ready. Please pray with the old lady in front of the Holy Heavenly God Emperor Dragon Candle statue first. Brunei sneered and said, Your Highness, I am an official from the Central Plains. I do not believe in your divine emperor. Our divine emperor of the Zhou dynasty is the Holy One today. Yes, sir. Has the king of Zhenbei arrived yet? Sir, the carriage of the king of Zhenbei has already arrived at the Wang mansion, and you can reach the county temple in half a stick of incense. Where are the people? Have they all come? Lord Hui, the old lady has already informed everyone to come. Okay, since that's the case, it's not too late. Let's go see how the prince seeks rain together. The priest hesitated for a moment and said, Sir, really? Do you really want the prince to pray for rain? Humph, don't you fools often say that he is the reincarnation of the 9 sons of the Holy Heavenly God Emperor Dragon Candle, Dragon AO? He is one of the Holy Heavenly God Kings. Why, he can't even beg for a rain. The old priest lowered his head and stopped speaking. Brunei proudly raised the corner of its mouth and took the lead in walking out. Outside, the square in front of the altar was crowded with county residents dressed in tattered clothes, and Zhang Dalong was preaching the court's grace. Dear elders and fellow villagers, now that the Prince of Zhenbei is stationed in the desert state, we are no longer the landless people. What the hell are you saying? Brunei clenched his fist in anger, lowered his body, stepped on the shoulders of the onlookers, and flew to the altar. Ladies and gentlemen, the Prince of Zhenbei, Lu Sanyang, was extravagant and promiscuous, plundering the people's wealth and building a royal mansion, which led to anger and resentment. The Holy Heavenly Emperor was furious and caused a natural disaster, causing no rain to fall in May in the county. It is truly despicable. I came today to take your majesty and hold the Prince of Zhenbei accountable. Your good day is coming. Everyone heard this. Look at me, I look at you, but I can't say a word. Brunei finished speaking and looked at Zhang Dalong on the side. Do you see that? This is preaching the authority of the court. They have already been convinced by my words. Zhang Dalong blushed and chuckled, but remained silent. What are you laughing at? Zhang Dalong shrunk his neck and said, Sir, they don't understand the Central Plains Mandarin. Whatever you say is the same. Brunei paused for a moment and looked at the priest. You, tell them what I said again. Yes, sir. Sure enough, the old priest came up to the stage and repeated Brunei's words, causing everyone below to immediately boil. What are they talking about? Brunei looked at the old priest and asked. The old priest looked up at Brunei and quickly lowered his head, afraid to speak. Answer me. The old priest remained silent. Zhang Dalong approached Brunei and whispered, Sir, they said, build the royal palace and let them have work, food, and drink. How could this be a plunder of the people's wealth? They also said. Zhang Dalong withdrew his neck again. Say. Yes, sir. They said You're not knowledgeable. It only rains in June every year in Wenquan County, and it won't rain at all at this time. Brunei glanced at the crowd, and the front few stepped back a bit, with a clear sense of fear in their eyes, fully demonstrating that Zhang Dalong's words were true. How unreasonable. A group of unruly people. Sir, why don't we just forget about this rain prayer ceremony? Forget it. I put my face over there. I'm asking you, didn't you say there was an example of May rainfall in Wenquan County? And there were also many. Sir, that was an auspicious omen that appeared 500 years ago when the third son of the Holy Heaven, God, and Earth, Long Yu, came to the world. It's all legendary. That's just right. Those fox demons said, Lu Sanyang is the reincarnation of the 9 sons of the Holy Heavenly Emperor. You can talk about this. Sir, then. That's what the fox tribe said only after showing goodwill. Do you really want to use this matter to argue? Humph, if the fox clan wants to promote Lu Sanyang as the holy heavenly god king in order to improve their status among the demon clan, then my official will destroy this holy heavenly god king. Sir, what if Lu Sanyang were to come down? Brunei touched the Confucian talisman in his arms and said, Don't worry, I have the drought talisman bestowed upon me by the Imperial Academy scholar Rong Qingfei. Don't say there was no rain in the first place, even if there was rain, it couldn't come down. Zhang Dalong felt a chill on his back. I thought Brunei, like him, was just a warrior who only knew how to fight and kill. I didn't expect him to take a step at a time and have already prepared a backup plan. Empress Rong Qingfei is now in charge of the Imperial Academy, although she is only a 5th-grade moral character. But the White Deer Academy knew that Lu Sanyang had fallen, and some people had already approached the court. This drought talisman should have been engraved by Master Li Mingjing of the 3rd rank at least. And under Lu Sanyang's command, Ziyang Jusher was only in the realm of a 4th-grade gentleman, and he was also a member of the Heart sect, making it impossible to confront higher-level scholars. Yes, sir. Zhang Dalong has been living in Mozhou for 5 years and has long been familiar with the local language, customs, and beliefs. After a few words, the anticipation on everyone's faces came up. Brunei quickly asked, What did you say again? Why are they looking like this? Don't worry, sir. I'll give a handful of Lu Sanyang now. If the rain doesn't come down soon, then the backlash of public opinion will be much stronger than if I were to harm him now. Brunei pondered for a moment and said, Not bad. This matter is done, and the position of deputy commander is yours. Zhang Dalong quickly clenched his fists and said, Thank you, Lord. Brunei saw the carriage landing in Sanyang on stage and quickly separated the crowd, walking over. 9 Brother.in.law, Brunei, this dog official has come over. Huan pulled open the curtain and found 8 foxes in her arms, all of them white and fluffy, very beautiful. The one with the brightest eyes, spitting out words from the mouth, said, Sister Jiu, according to the customs of your Central Plains, should we recite a poem at this time to express our feelings of helplessness and melancholy?